And welcome to the Work for Change podcast. It's your boy Jean, spelled like Jean.
And your boy John with the silent H. Welcome to episode 117 of the Work for Change podcast.
Heck yeah. And on this week's episode, you'll hear about it, okay? You'll hear about it. But last week we were talking about what happens when kind of a social media influencer kind of changes what their main thing is about and how people can kind of turn on them. And I know that our friend Manders, simply Manders on Instagram and stuff, she kind of went through a change, not as dramatic as the one we were talking about. She kind of switched from CrossFit weightlifting to more literally just adding Peloton and talking more about her life. And people were like, you've changed on us. And so we just thought it'd be pretty interesting to hear an insider's perspective. So we had her on this week's episode.
Yeah. Plus, she's just a good friend of ours. So
all around good person.
Yeah. So it
friend
was
of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show. It was just a good conversation. We talked about that, and then we also kind of talk about the Matt Fraser versus Dave Castro versus CrossFit kind of controversy that's going on. Just because she's super big into CrossFit. We are super big into CrossFit. You know, not so much right now, but like, you know, we like to keep up. We like to keep up with what's going on.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of drama in the CrossFit world universe, so that's always fun to talk about.
It's always revolving around Matt.
Yeah, pretty much.
Last time it was the Froning Fraser thing.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah. So we talk about that towards the end of the episode. So if you want to listen to that, obviously you can skip to that if that's all you're interested in. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you guys go over to Instagram, hit us with a like or a follow. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in and enjoy the episode.
Peace. Thanks so much for being back on the Work for Change podcast.
Yay! I'm so honored. I love you guys so much.
You're one of the very few
Repeat
guests.
Yeah.
Were you almost said repeat customers?
I was gonna say that, and then I stopped. I didn't want to sound dumb.
How do you feel about the product that we've sold you?
Love it. Fantastic.
A lot's changed since you were on last. I'm pretty sure you weren't married before.
No, I was not married. I'm a married girl now.
Wow.
So you already sound like you're from the Midwest, the way you said no.
Are you serious?
100%.
People have been
don't
saying
you know?
Oh, yeah. 100%.
First of all, that is not what people sound like in the Midwest.
That's offensive, all right?
I think I still have a Northeast accent that people mistake for a Midwest accent, because I say things like Florida, like with an A, and I say water, and nobody really ever noticed it when I was in Florida, because most people like from New York or Pennsylvania, like they live in Florida. So like it never really was noticed. But I've noticed recently, like people comment on my YouTube channel, and they're like, oh, you sound like you're from the Midwest. And I'm like, really? I don't think I have an accent, but.
Wow.
I don't know. I heard it.
Really? Oh.
I'm notorious for like, I'll hang out with someone for 2 days, like, and they're from Australia. Like, I'll just start saying like Australian sayings. I'll like start ending my sentences on the up inflection like Australians do. Like,
it's not just language though. You'll be like, I'm also gonna start surfing now.
Yeah.
Like, you 100%. Like, you are so easy to like. You're so impressionable. It's like, and it's so like right now. He's wearing high socks. Why are you wearing high socks right now? You've been watching videos of people wearing high socks.
Maybe. I mean, I think it's the vibe. It's in right now.
Influence.
He's influenced. I'm so 100%. Wow, what a great segue.
No, so I was actually thinking about my socks today.
Oh my God, what a podcast!
And I bought like cheap Hanes on Amazon.
Why do you do that?
Okay.
I was just like, I don't know. They're just tall socks. I don't know. I didn't think there was anything special about them. I'm used to wearing like Stance or Vans. Like, they're good brands. Like, they're nice socks. They're comfortable. And so I just bought these cheap Hanes on Amazon, and they're like not the same quality at all.
No,
like they keep falling.
Not.
They keep falling down. You know. Anyway, this is why we had you on the podcast. We wanted to talk about high socks.
We need help with our fashion.
We need help with your socks. Glad I could help.
No, okay. So you let's just like jump right in. The reason why
I think we're too far gone.
Five minutes in, let's just start right away.
Let's jump straight in after I talked about my socks for a while.
Last week we were kind of giving you a heads up, a catch up. Last week we were talking about influencers, and one specific one where she made a big change, and she used to be known for one thing. She completely changed it, but didn't let anyone know. Her following found out the hard way, through the comments and stuff like that, and then she had to make a video addressing it, and now she's receiving a lot of hate. The reason during the podcast, I was actually thinking about you. Not that you're getting a whole bunch of hate, but I remember recently.
Oh, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember recently you made a post kind of talking about how your life and your training style has changed, and how your Instagram and your social media presence has always kind of been about what you're going through and what you enjoy and what you find pleasure doing. And how, since it's not pure CrossFit or weightlifting, there's kind of been some frustration from people.
Yeah.
So I was literally thinking about you when we were talking about this in the podcast last week. And I didn't want to just be like, who reminds me of? Manders. And then just talk about you without you having the chance to say anything. So super glad you're able to be on, but I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
Yeah. This is a tricky subject because, and I've had this conversation multiple times on social media, both with influencers and also with hate commenters at sometimes. If I can catch a quote unquote troll and be able to talk to them, sometimes it's really interesting. It usually goes one of two ways, but I always try to understand, because something that I've noticed on social media recently is, and maybe it's not recent, but just something I've recently noticed, people feel so entitled to someone's life because of the amount of followers that they have. And so what you're referencing, even though I've always been simply Mander, it's just me, yes, CrossFit and nutrition was it still is, but it was 99% of my life. It revolved around it. It's is the only content I posted. I was known as CrossFit Manders. It was just, that was kind of my brand, unintentionally, but it's what it was. And because people got so accustomed to that, sometimes somewhere over the course of the last couple of years, I guess, people just held on to that image of me. And from what I'm understanding, what you're explaining of that influencer with the image that she may have had was of very body positivity. And, I don't know her specifics, if she ever talked about I would never get surgery or something like that. But people hold on to this image of somebody. And as they change or as they do different things and grow, it either outrages people or those people grow and support with them. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's interesting. It's super interesting because some people get really the brunt of it. And some people, they just lose followers, when they stop posting fitness content, they lose all their fitness people, or when they stop posting this content, they lose these people. And it's just a revolving door, I think, on social media that we're never going to fix. Mm-hmm. But I think where it can become problematic is, for example, I don't know about her case specifically, but for me as a nutrition coach, if I were to get something do you know they have ab reconstructing surgery these days? Can we just talk about that for 1 second?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
so get
so
this.
weird. I'm definitely never gonna do that. Let me just.
Is that so people who have six packs that are kind of uneven? Is that what it's doing? Is it evens it out, or what is that?
No. So it is a form of liposuction similar to a BBL, which is a Brazilian butt lift. It's really popular these days, but it's the transfer of fat into your midsection, but formed as an abdominal.
Oh my gosh.
I swear, I can't make this up. So anyway, where I think that this can become problematic and where I've seen it become problematic is influencers specifically who have some type of product that they're selling that they make profit off of, right? If it was me, for example, let's say it's my nutrition coaching. Okay. So let's say I go out and get this BBL and this ab transformation and I pay for it. I don't want to say cheating, but you know what I mean? I'm not doing the full thing that I'm charging everyone else for. And I get this procedure done and I'm telling people that I look like this because of my nutrition, my product or whatever. And that's where I personally see the issue with it. And people, when they choose to to not disclose it, but they're making gain off of it.
Yeah.
Because I do think, like, I agree with you. There's a fine line. Like, that girl doesn't have to tell anybody she got it. It's her own body. Like, she can do whatever the heck she wants. So can I, so can you. But like, where does it become your own body versus like causing a problem for other people?
Yeah.
That's the gray area, I think.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I don't want to go too much into like the little things, but like, I mean, what you brought up was exactly what a lot of people that had issue with this other influencer was. Like, she was promoting Weight Watchers and like basically saying like, I lost weight. And like a big thing was someone literally asked like, oh, I have like the underbelly as well, like, and you look so good. What have you been doing? And the influencer basically said like, oh, you know, I've just been working out and I've lost some weight and most of it's in my lower stomach. And she put like the shrug emoji. And then she said, and also I'm wearing Spanx, right? So like literally lying about the surgery.
Lying,
which,
yeah.
So the issue and I mean, you summarized it perfectly was when you start making money off of whatever it might be, like it could be being body positive, or it could be about being, you know, a weight loss influencer. And if you are like, it's just hard because I understand, yes, 100%. If you get a surgery, you don't have to tell anybody, right? Why should you have to tell anybody?
Sure.
But if a lot of your brand is centered around this surgery that you got, or it's like very similar, right? Like if you're an influencer, just a regular influencer that is a fitness influencer that got a Brazilian butt lift or whatever, got injections in your butt cheeks, and then you're selling booty programs, that's wrong, right?
Exactly.
I think anybody can say that that's wrong. But the thing it's really interesting is how connected people get to influencers, like, and it's so much more than celebrities, like, because with celebrities, I think like people, like, they like celebrities because they like what they do, they like the movies they're in, yada yada yada. With a lot of just straight up influencers that are like, I don't want to say just influencers, but like that's their main thing, it's like they like them because they relate to them. And so it's like it's this weird it's so much more than just, oh, I'm a fan of you. It's like I see myself in you. And then people get like, they feel more hurt when stuff like this kind of comes out, and they feel like pain because of what the person's caused them. It's really, really interesting.
Totally. It is. And I think also this on a smaller scale, because like I don't have as many followers as you have, but I think to an extent it can almost be worse when you don't have it. I mean, when you have less followers, because you have more engagement with your current followers. So like, it's not like people who are fans of, you know, whoever that's like an actual A-list celebrity, they're not getting interactions from them on their Instagram, YouTube, or whatever. Whereas somebody like you or I, like, I'd see you reply to people's comments. You know, I reply to people's comments, and even in my DMs, I'm talking to people and I'm trying to still be a human being. And at this amount of followers, I still can do that. But I think like at a certain point, those fans realize that, you know, someone with millions of followers, they're just a nobody. But like to us, we're on a smaller scale, and they might have, you know, more relatability to that. And also just the fact that they feel like they know us, like they don't know what's going on in like, you know, Demi Lovato's life on YouTube or anything. Like they see our daily lives and they see how we interact on a daily basis. So I think that's part of it too, because they feel like we're their friends in a sense, you know, like they look at our page every day and we're just a part of their life and we don't even know it. It's so interesting.
Well, and like, yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that the Instagram, the YouTube celebrity, the social media celebrity, let's say, they've not that they've got it harder. Like, this is not a competition by any means, but like, you know, you have Robin Williams or Tom Hanks. People are like, they love Tom Hanks, and he doesn't really reply to people on social media. There's not that big of a backlash. Maybe E! will do a story on him, and people are like, oh, wow, that's so crazy. And then the story's over. But then you have, like, if you have, like, a social media celebrity, like, you name, like, a James Charles or something, like, where they got... I know. I don't watch anything.
I'm surprised you even know that name.
James.
I'm surprised you even know that name.
No, I do not watch his makeup tutorials and fall asleep to him, okay?
He's not like, my Hello Sisters, okay?
Like,
Jeez, I just don't even know.
James Charles or Jeffree Star or Shane Dawson, whoever.
Talk about problematic.
The most problematic. You said I'm going to choose the most problematic.
I know.
Yeah, literally.
But like they're at a point where it's like people feel like their celebrity is due to them. You know what I mean? Like it is the fans' reason why they are so big. Mm-hmm. So there's almost this like extra vitriol where it's like you have these like YouTube channels who exist solely to tear down the YouTube celebrities. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then it's like, so it's almost like
so crazy.
There is an element where it's like the smaller you are, people feel like they're entitled to your space, your time, your energy. You get to this middle ground where it's like, okay, you're kind of like you're making it on Instagram, that's fine. But then it's like you reach once you get to the millions, it's almost like all over again. It's like it's the fans' fault you're so big, so you better pay more attention to them. And if you don't, now you're just sold out, and then people make channels about you.
Well, then you have a bigger target on your back.
Yeah.
You know, like
totally.
I've been dealing with that a little bit. Like there's more and more people that are like coming after me because like.
Do you think because of the videos?
I'm listening. I'm gonna charge my laptop and I'm gonna let the dog out.
Okay,
but keep going.
But because my like I think it's because just the channel has been growing, and there's been a few people that I've, in a good way, but I've like shown them. I've like shown their videos on my channel, and it's like there's a couple. So there's like two young ladies. So there's one, her name's Megan, and the other one's name is Luis. The young lady Megan, she had a video on her channel where she was talking about fat acceptance, and like she was someone that used to be. Okay, so she was used to be into it, and then she kind of got out of it, and so she ended up making a video about that, and then I shared her video and like talked about it, and like her channel like blew up, not just from me, but like it helped with the algorithm, and like it really helped her channel like gain a lot of viewers, right? And then more recently, this one's crazy. I found this young lady, Louise, from the UK, and she's lost a lot of weight, and she made a video about her loose skin, right? And I showed her video on my channel and kind of like, I like went over her video and then like shared my perspective, like someone that's been dealing with loose skin for X amount of years. And this is crazy. Her video, when I watched it on my, and I'm not taking full responsibility, so please. But like when I watched it on my channel, had 500 views. That video has over 500,000 views now.
Wow.
It's unreal. Like, and all her videos now are like getting more views, which I'm super happy for. She's super nice. Yeah. But I think people have seen that, and they want to get. I don't know, this makes me feel like I'm fooling myself, but like they're trying to get my attention any means necessary. You know what I mean? And so I think that's part of it. It's really interesting. Like, it's definitely I feel lucky because I've always felt a huge sense of like I deserve to give my subscribers or to give my followers the best. You know what I mean? I've always felt like a sense of, I don't know what the word that I'm looking for is, but like a sense of duty almost to be the best that I can.
Like you hold yourself to like a higher standard.
Yeah. And so I feel like I've been lucky. So like there's not like a bunch of skeletons in the closet kind of thing. But like for other people that maybe, or like because I've been doing this for so long, you know what I mean? Like it's just, this is what I've been doing. But yeah, sorry, I went on a tangent there. But it's crazy how the larger you get, the more people like sadly want to tear you down. And it's all about, it's just about being smart and like making the right decisions. And I think another part of it, like one of the biggest issues that the first story that we were talking about with like the surgery is like when you get to a certain size, like as much as it might suck, like honesty really, you just have to be honest. Like if
Instagram, like follower size?
Yeah. Like once you get to a certain, once you get to a certain size as far as following, not weight.
Well, it's like it fits your lane.
I guess, yeah. Once you get to a certain size of following, and it's like, especially if it's in the vein of what you are popular for, whatever word you want to use. Like if it's something completely unrelated and you got, I don't know, a new car, you don't have to be honest about that. If you don't feel like sharing every part of your life, but like if it's something that is very directly tied to you and it will affect your followers, I think like you do have kind of an obligation to be honest. And like if that thing gets out without you putting it out, there will always
then you look bad.
You look bad, and there will always be people that will not be happy with your apology, like forever.
Oh, no chance.
There will
No
always
chance.
be people, and I understand why, but there will always be people that will say you're only sorry because you got caught. And it's like,
Got caught.
what do you
Yeah,
say to that? Because it's like,
Yeah.
if
You
you didn't get
can't.
caught,
Well,
would
you
you
can-
have said anything? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
So
No.
it's tough, man.
Yeah, to find that, and I think even more so, I'll take it a little bit on a different route. Being a female, it is a really, really interesting world out there as far as everything from Botox and filler and all these different procedures that, it's just become so normalized in, the standards of beauty these days. And I think, take, for example, one of the Kardashians had said that she didn't have any surgeries. And it's like, that's one of those things where, okay, is she really making money off of not saying that she had surgeries? Maybe not, because she's rich from all the other things she does.
Mm-hmm.
But do I still think it's wrong morally? Yeah. But then you bring it on a smaller scale, like somebody like myself. Okay, so I got Botox in my forehead. I started getting Botox when I was 22 because I had gnarly forehead wrinkles. I was not embarrassed about it. I was super open about it, whatever. And if someone asked me about it, I told them because I didn't really care. But it still can become a focal point for the haters, like you were saying, to get your attention, to try to create something out of nothing. And if you're not openly talking about it every single time, it's they have a way to kind of make you feel bad about not sharing every single thing. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you that I got my 6-month update on my Botox. Can you not see my forehead's not moving? I don't know. I just feel there's such a fine line sometimes where it's do I really have to tell you this? Not really, but at a certain point, should I tell you because you might think that I'm lying about other things, or I don't know. It's just so weird. As being a female, especially.
Dude, yeah, being 100%. There's so much more when it comes to being a female than a male. When it comes to this specific stuff we're talking about, I wouldn't argue that at all. But yeah, it's what do the people expect every time you post a selfie to write Botox and then an arrow to your forehead or something like that? It's at what point?
At what point? Exactly.
At what point is it enough that you've talked about it, right?
So yeah, that actually,
right.
Yeah. Then that leads me to my next. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say that actually happened to me with my vocal cord injury. I had gotten accused of steroids. So I was blue in the face defending myself about not taking steroids. And it got to a point where I literally was I will show you my freaking video stroboscopy that I had done when I went down my throat to look at my vocal cords. I've had to have this conversation many times. What do you want me to do? Put a disclaimer on my videos that say, yes, I know my voice is raspy right now. It's because I have a vocal cord injury that cannot be healed other than surgery. Unless you want to pay for my surgery, stop saying I'm on steroids. Where is the line being drawn anywhere? There's never one.
Yeah, that so just a quick context question, and then I'll ask how long have you been doing YouTube or your social media presence? How long have you been doing that?
It's since 2014 and 15. It's really I started YouTube, I think, in 2015.
Okay.
But I was on Instagram in 2014, and then my channel started picking up in 2016, 17.
Okay.
That was when I really started getting more traction and followers.
Yeah. So in the social media world, that's a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, both of us have been doing it around the same exact time.
Yeah.
I would say that was my exact timeline as well. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, because you were one of the first people on YouTube that I subscribed to.
Nice.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Jean showed me your channel.
Comment on my videos.
Jean showed me your channel.
Yeah,
he told you because it was when I first got into CrossFit, and he showed me Craig, and then he showed me your videos, and he was like, "Yeah, just trying to find CrossFit vloggers." And
just
how
want to watch.
Funny is that?
Just want to watch more CrossFit.
We still do that. I still do that whenever I get into something into triathlon. I've been watching triathlon vloggers. It's just what I do.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the reason I asked that, have you found, is there and feel free to share as much or share as little as you want, but is there a kind of contract that you've created mentally with your followers of here's what I share, here's what I don't share, and when I do share a change, here's how I go about it? Have you had to become very have you had to become your own PR firm in a sense of how you share things?
Ooh, I don't think I've actually sat down and thought about it intentionally in that way. Mostly like I struggle because I'm typically an oversharer. Like like Austin, my husband, is not that way. And he's always like, stop putting that shit on social media. Like, cause it's something I've had to like really tone it down on, because like when someone does something like to me, or like something that, and I know you're like this, John, too. Like when someone does something that's so effed up, you're trying to be like, look at this.
Yeah.
Like, and so like I do that all the time. And so like, I think people, to your point, have gotten used to my like oversharing, that I have had to be like, hey, not everything needs to go on social media, especially if it comes to like something negative that's like happened in my life. And so I think really there hasn't been anything to where like nothing really insane has happened in my life to where I've been like, I'm not going to share this, but something has happened and I'm not like, some like people do that. I haven't had luckily to do that yet. But anything that has to do with like personal stories of people, I don't like share names like of people in my life, because I just feel like that's, not right. And it's like privacy wise, but I will typically be as open as I can be without hurting someone's feelings or me potentially regretting it in the future. So that's just like the mental checklist that I think of, but I've never had to like have a serious sit down and be like, okay, I'm not sharing this, guys, just because nothing has really happened like that to me yet, luckily.
I kind of wanted to answer the same question. I've been lucky that like I'm the opposite of Manders. Like I have always been pretty good at like sharing certain things, but then just other things I just wasn't comfortable with sharing like to people. And like for me, it served me really well. And like I don't feel like I'm hiding anything. It's just there are certain things that I am comfortable with sharing on my social media, and there are certain things that I'm not. And for me, I really, really like that. I couldn't imagine sharing like every little thing, but at the same time, like I do watch your stories sometimes. I'm like, man, I wish I was more comfortable with sharing stuff, because like some of your stories are so funny, like just like little things, like you sharing like the freaking TikTok that went viral of like, oh, I put this up and it just falls straight down. Like there's stuff like that I would be like,
so funny. Come on,
it was funny, but like with me, because I'd be like, I just can't get this right. I don't want to film it, and like so little things like that. I'm like, man, sometimes I wish I was just more comfortable with just sharing little things, because dude, you saw the video.
I didn't see that, no.
Oh my god, dude!
Oh
it's so
my god,
funny.
It's literally went viral on TikTok.
It went super viral. So she like hung. You tell him. I'm not even. You tell what happened. Oh my god.
It wasn't it that the funniest part about it though was that I was dead serious on how proud of myself I was about it, because like I don't know if you know this about me, handy mandy, not a good look for me. I don't do home projects well. Like I suck at everything.
But
I
you keep
mess it up at
trying.
least. I always try. Like I put together upside down, backwards, and I'm like, and then I do it again. I keep doing it again over and over and over. So anyways, I was redoing the guest room and I don't have a nail gun, obviously, because I should not be a person that has a nail gun. So I went to Home Depot, I asked him like how to put this wood plank on the wall, like as a divider. And he was like, oh, this cement glue will be just fine because you have drywall. Perfect. Okay, bam. Yeah. So I really was trying to be all good. And I was like, I got this big level out and I was like, well, no, it was like a normal level, but to me, I thought it was big. Come to find out it wasn't really a big enough level for this plank of wood. But I put on the wood and I had it on the wall and I took my phone to show everybody. I was like, guys, I'm so proud of myself. I just want everyone to know I leveled this piece of wood and it's up and I did it. And literally the second I said, yep, the plank just goes and just crashes on the floor. But it was like perfect timing.
And your laugh was the best part. Cause it was a laugh of just like, why did I even try? Like it was, and the thing that was perfect was funny. It wasn't like it like fell kind of weird. It literally just went straight down. Like, oh man, it was so good.
That's funny. I actually think I might have seen that, but like didn't know it was you.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised. It was everywhere. How many views does it have now? Do you have any idea?
I think it has to be close to 2 million at this point, because the other day it was like 1.6 or something like that.
Dude, oh my gosh.
1.8 million, yeah.
So good.
Yeah. That's
but
awesome.
like little things
So
like that,
good.
like obviously that's nowhere near as intense as what we're talking about. But it's like little things like that you
No,
would
but,
film
like-
that I just wouldn't think of it. I'd be like, I just want to get it done, and then once it was done, I might be like, took a picture, like,
sure,
yeah,
yeah.
look what I did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was so good, man.
But I think part of that though is because I'm like not embarrassed of the things that like I suck at. Not saying you are, but like I think that's funny to people because like they also probably are not good at home improvement projects. So it might like give them a good laugh or make them feel better. And that's kind of what I like to do. Like, yeah, I love fitness and nutrition stuff, but like I really thrive off when people like my favorite compliment is when someone tells me I'm funny. Like my day
yeah.
will be made for at least 5 business days because I'm so excited when someone thinks I'm funny. So like, I like when people tell me like, dude, I love watching your stories because you're so funny. And like, I don't really try to uphold this like perfect, like influencer life of like, yeah, look at me with my perfect life and my perfect food. And, like, I'm just kind of like, F it. We're just going to try to put a wood plank on the wall with glue today and see how it goes.
I do know, like, a couple years ago, I think it was when you recently moved or something, I got really invested in your needing to buy all the security cameras and lights for the outside of your house.
Oh my god, yeah. And then you checking it every day. Oh, what was that? Oh, it was a dog. Like, oh man, that was so good.
Dude, that made it to a highlight on my Instagram. It was called
my
like,
gosh.
I don't know, it was so funny.
Watching it
God.
in real time, it was yeah. You like wait the next day and be like, oh, there was an update, on the
who's on Manders security footage tonight? Did you ever see when the kid drove past and broke the whole mailbox in half? When he literally, that video was so funny. It was all my security footage. He literally just drove and just took the mailbox out right in front of my house. I was like, well, I'm glad I have this on camera.
That is so funny. That
It's
is
probably
so weird.
Jean, to be honest.
Yeah, I was like, I wanted to be on the security footage.
He's like, how do I make it on this?
He's like, this is my favorite show. How do I audition?
Yeah.
How do I audition? Okay, so after the conversation we just had, I had a follow-up question, which is going to seem like a Debbie Downer. But what is your... People have philosophies on like who they allow to speak into their life, right? Especially you need that like for social media, right? If you allow everyone to speak into your life, you're going to be miserable. I've heard quotes like, if you don't have their phone number, then don't take their critiques. You know what I mean? Like, do you have is there people in your life who go, okay, if they think that was bad, maybe there is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's typically my husband and my best friend. Like I will say like Austin is much more conservative on the side of things. Mm-hmm. But because like for me, I have dabbled with this and struggled with it. When someone leaves me like a really nasty hate comment, I have gone back and forth, and I don't know what you do, but I think sometimes for me, it just depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes I just block and delete because I just don't have the energy, and I'm just like, whatever. But then some days, like, it will just really just set me over the edge for whatever reason. And I will just like, and I'm not saying it's right, but I will totally stoop to their level and just like destroy them in a comment back. Like, and usually Aaron tag teams it and we just like light the comment up. And not that that's good because that's giving them attention, but it has come sometimes, like a handful of times, where when we give them like factual information, can't think of it off the top of my head, but something where like I'm coming back at them with like, you are wrong and here is why. They have deleted their own comment and I'm like, yes, that's right. Like, like, and I'm just like, okay, this is why, like, sometimes I feel like you have to kind of stand up for yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, not saying you should be an asshole, but in the same token, like, at what point do you just continue to let people, like you're saying, like, okay, maybe they have a critique, you don't have their phone number, but at the same time, how many times do you allow those people to talk negatively to you and treat you like you're not a human being? Like, that's where I personally struggle with, because I agree. Like, if you don't have their phone number, they're not a part of your life, who cares what they think? Totally. But at the same, like, I'm still a person, and like, those are still mean and they still hurt. So like, sometimes I should be like, yo, like, let's fight, bro.
Well, and the thing that's frustrating is that the people that have the negative things, they're the ones that want to stick around the longest, and they feel like they need to inform everyone, that's what's annoying to me. When people are like, I'm going to tell other people that, like, oh, you shouldn't actually trust them because of XYZ thing.
When you see like the same username that pretty much has a copy and paste comment every single time.
I mean, people do that. Like, it's
make multiple accounts.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. But like, I would say for me, like, most of the time, whenever I respond, I'm always just like, I just like, I'm like, it wasn't even worth it. Like, because then like for me at least, like it extends the thing. Like then
Totally.
Because especially if it's like, say if it's on an Instagram picture, right? And if I reply to the comment, that comment is going to be at the top of the Instagram picture.
Yeah.
So whenever someone clicks on it, they're going to see that comment because I replied to it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how Instagram works. And then the people that they're trying to be nice and like defend me, but then I'm constantly getting tagged in this comment and people arguing. Almost every time I'm like, I should have just deleted it or just like not acknowledged it. But like again, at the same time, it's like I am human, and sometimes I do post them on. Like I've stopped doing that, but sometimes I will post it on my story and be like, screw this person, even if I blur out their name or whatever, because then again, it just. Even if I do that, it just continues it because then people are messaging me being like, that's not true, blah, blah. And then it just is continuing to put that in my head. Yeah. And so like,
I know.
I'm not saying that you're wrong to do what you do. Cause like, sometimes it's like, screw this person.
It's definitely wrong. Like, I know.
Yeah. But like, sometimes it's like, it's weird. Cause I was talking about this when I had a conversation. So I actually had a conversation with with that girl that got the surgery. Like she came on my channel. And we had an interview. She messaged me and cause she wanted to clear everything up and she like wanted to come to my channel to do it. And I was like, okay. But I had a conversation like after with the stream and I was talking about how like when you are an influencer, like it's not fair, but like you have more of a responsibility to keep like if it's a random commenter that doesn't have that isn't like popular on social media, like you have more of a responsibility to keep their stuff private than they do for you, at least in my opinion. Like it's not fair and it's sucky, but like it would be a much bigger deal if I were to, quote unquote, like dox someone that isn't like a social media influencer than if like some random one of my followers like tried to dox me. Like it would make me look a lot worse than them. You know what I mean? Like, is it fair? No. But like that's just at least in my eyes, that's just the truth. Like I'm kind of tiptoeing around it, but like, so what ended up happening was there was this Instagram account. It was just some random girl. She sent me some information. I ended up not using it. And then she screenshotted our conversation and sent it to basically like another channel. And then they made a whole video with our DMs in it. Right. And so it was this huge thing.
Talking about what?
Talking about that girl that got the surgery.
Okay.
And so I know it's kind of convoluted, but like I know like that if I were, because I have her Instagram, I know her full name, I could put it out there if I wanted to easily, right? Yeah. But I'm not going to do that because I have more of a responsibility than she did, even though she shared my DMs and put it out there, right? I still feel like I have more of a responsibility to keep her stuff private, even though she has already done that to me. Yeah. Do you get does that make sense? Do you get what I'm saying there?
Yes.
Like
I adore the niceness in your heart for that. Truly, bless. However,
you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not telling you how to do it, but like that's how I feel, and so that's why I'm like.
No, I know you're right. Like, I agree. Morally, you are correct. Oh my God, everyone listening is gonna be like, "Wow, she sucks." No, I'm totally agree. I think where I've like struggled with that concept, just at me as a person, not even as an influencer, is like those people. I think. Like they use both sides of their mouth sometimes because they come to our page, and I'm not really talking about that situation because that I would agree with you on because that's like a private DM. Like I do agree with you, but I'm more so talking about how like if somebody chooses publicly, like their own personal account to come onto my Instagram, which they knowingly are aware has 103,000 followers and it's a public account and their comment is going to be seen by other people, they're, in my opinion, taking that risk that other people are going to see their comment. I may put it on my story. Who knows? I mean, I don't really do that anymore. I used to be a lot worse about that. But, like, I think like, okay, you're telling me that I have all these people to, have on my followers. So why do you not have to have the same thing if you're coming onto my platform with all those people? So like, that's kind of where I'm like, because you know how many followers I have, and you know that people are going to see that comment and start fighting back with you. So like, what do you expect? You can't be mad if your stuff gets put publicly because you chose to comment on a public thing. So if it's public, I'd say up for debate. Private, I would agree with you on that, like a private conversation for sure. But it's just sucky. Like the whole thing is just sucky no matter what.
Yeah, no, I agree with you with like if they're leaving a comment, like you're putting yourself out there. Like you did it. Like if someone wants to be petty and put it on their story, like, is it going to suck for you? Maybe, like, but you shouldn't have said the crappy thing. You know what I mean? Like
that's what I'm saying.
I saw once Kevin Hart, someone like he very publicly went through like this thing where he like cheated on his wife and people were calling him out on it. And so one dude like left a comment, just some mean comment on Kevin Hart's Instagram, which has so many followers. Yeah. Like
millions.
One of the biggest, on Instagram. And this guy had like, 200 followers maybe. And so Kevin Hart literally like screenshotted his Instagram and told all of his followers to just haze this guy. And it was like, that is so savage.
Yeah,
like he like,
that's crazy.
Like 2 days later, he ends up like apologizing for doing that. Like, hey, I should have done that, blah, blah. But the comments, human, like, dude. And like, it didn't help. This guy had like thinning hair. And so people just like went to town on this dude. And I was like, ooh, that's rough.
Yeah.
See, again, that's a fine line between like the bullying side of things and like standing up for yourself. Like it's a tricky situation when you do have a lot of followers, because like I don't condone a very similar situation happened to me when I had the incident with my dogs in November. And this girl out of nowhere, like don't even know who she was. But the ironic part was that she had reached out to me for a macro consultation. So I thought that was kind of funny. She was like on her story, full on blasting me about like how I'm not advocating for the pit bull breed, and like just saying all this stuff that like if you really knew me, like you would know that's not true. But like for some reason it just triggered me so intensely because of how much I love my dogs, and like the things that she was saying about me and the dogs were just like making me so mad. So I took all her stories and put them on my story, and I was basically like this is what makes me so mad about social media. And I was just like you said, I'm human. I was having a horrible day because of what happened with my dogs and whatever. So apparently then my followers went savage on her and were like sending like complete horrible messages. So then I had to come back on and say like, hey, I'm not condoning violence, hate comments to her or to me. That's the point. Like, don't take it that far and go start harassing her. But like, I'm still telling you, like, this is not true and she sucks. So like, it's just social media, man. Like you never win. You literally will never win no matter what you do.
It's true. 100%.
It's definitely a very thin, there's a thin edge. And there's like both sides are just like, it's crazy.
All right, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about, I want to talk about this shortly because we all three of us do CrossFit, and obviously there's been some quote unquote drama that's been going on.
Wait, pause. What? Are you doing the open?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't sign up.
Me neither.
This is crazy. First time in years that I haven't, but
I know. I did because I still do the open series on my channel and everyone really likes that. So
yeah, I do it I used to do it on my second channel. A lot of people have been asking me, but like it's like for me, it's like with the triathlon training, like that is the most important thing to me. And I know how I am. Totally. Like if I'm going to do an open workout, I want to get a good score and I don't want to hurt myself. Like, because I'm like, my back is so much better, but it's still, I know that if I were to try and lift really heavy, like fast, for time, it would just be me asking for injury. And it's like, for me, triathlon is the most important thing. And so I know that I just need to like focus on that. So it does suck though. Like I'm definitely like kind of, it's a weird feeling. Like it would have been my 5th year in a row.
Yeah, this is my 5th. So I think we literally started CrossFit at the same time. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I'm not doing either. I have a baby coming by the end of the open. So
Are you serious? Congratulations. How did I not know that?
Yeah. So no, it's all good.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, so it's not here yet. She'll be here soon. And so that was my priority was like, I don't care. And I have not been the most consistent quarantine workouter. So the open
He'll go a month without working out. Whoopsies.
No, I'm just kidding. The open would not be a good thing for me. Okay. Anyway, continue.
Okay. So for those of I kind of want to give a little bit of a backstory for those that might not have seen it. So recently, Matt Fraser, 5 times games athlete, previous guest on the podcast, no big deal, just flexing a little bit. Mm-hmm. He recently went on Joe Rogan, which I could tell he was very excited for, because I've been following Matt for a long time, and he's wanted to be on the Joe Rogan. Like, I've seen him in a bunch of Q&As. People would ask him, when are you going on Joe Rogan? And he's always said, whenever he'll have me. Yeah. So, I know that he was very excited to be on the Joe Rogan podcast. Yeah. So he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about CrossFit, and a lot of what he ended up talking about was the problems, some of the problems with CrossFit, right? And there's been a little bit of backlash. So Dave Castro, the director of the games, posted and kind of talked about how he was kind of upset with Matt because he talked about some of the issues. Matt talked about some of the issues with CrossFit. And so some of the main things were some gyms aren't good, some gyms are good, right? That was one of his points. There are some good gyms, some bad gyms. The other thing was a lot of time, and then kind of going more into that, the reason there are some quote unquote bad gyms is the programming at some of these gyms is just not very good. And so it's not thoughtful programming. And then he kind of talked about just that a little bit. And then he also, and I think what Dave was more mad about than anything was that he basically said Dave at some point, Dave was just literally trying to program to make it so I lost, and he felt that wasn't cool. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of the whole thing. So I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts were on that, because I know you're someone that's loved CrossFit for a long time. I don't know how much you've loved. I don't know how much of a fan of Matt Fraser you were. What did you think about his critiques, and what do you think, if anything, CrossFit can learn from the biggest name in CrossFit technically, or kind of coming out. I don't even want to say against it, but just having critiques about it.
I think honestly, I thought he was spot on. I don't know. I just feel he didn't say anything that wasn't true. Mm. It wasn't he was sitting there spewing all these lies about certain. He didn't even say a name. He didn't say anything very specific. He was professional, from what I didn't think it was bad, but I mean, it's not a lie. There are affiliates that are questionable, they do have crappy programming, but that's not just CrossFit. That's anything, and I personally have seen a decline in the CrossFit community, I would say, since they changed the games format. That is when I personally feel the community was just different. And then when there's no more regionals, I think that's where I saw it just in my gym, because CrossFit Boynton Beach is a really competitive gym in South Florida. And we're about to have a second regionals team that would have made it. And it was after that happened, it was just everyone just deflated. It was just now what do we do anymore? And then I think the thing that he said about making it so people can cheat via steroids, PEDs, whatever, in my personal opinion, if you're somebody that thinks that those high level people don't have the ability to cheat and or haven't cheated, you're just being naive at that point. So he didn't really say anything that was shocking to me, but I think the backlash that it's getting for it is a little bit much, honestly. Mm. I'm a fan of Matt Fraser, but also because I think that I was talking to somebody today about this. He never went into CrossFit with any other goal other than literally to win and make money. Yeah. It was a competition for him. It wasn't
he's always been honest about that too. Yeah, he has. Yes. And especially if you look back on I think it might be a little weird now because he's out of it. And so you feel this you used us kind of thing, right? But he's always kind of been I'm here to win, period. That's why I'm here, and the thing, that you were talking about with the steroids, I know that was one of the things that people were upset about. So, because Jean, you haven't listened to it yet.
No, I haven't listened to that podcast, but I've listened to various long form podcasts with Matt Fraser in it.
Yeah.
So I imagine that he didn't like just save stuff to talk to Joe about. You know what
I mean, there were
But-
certain things, but that was more just his own performance, like certain supplements that he used. But
Yeah.
the thing with the steroids that he brought up that people were upset about was he talked about when he was in the Olympic training facility, like they literally would not give you an hour notice, or they would only give you an hour notice. They're like, we are coming now.
Yeah.
In CrossFit, he said they would give you a full day. And he said, with that, you can do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that was, I think, what a lot of people were like, well, so you're saying everyone's on steroids? Which I don't think he's saying that.
No,
but he's
he
like,
wasn't saying that either.
He
Yeah.
basically talked about Ricky Garrard and, like, saying, so if you guys don't know, Ricky Garrard was second place. Was he second place? Or was he third?
Yeah, he was
Second, I
He
think.
got
Yeah.
second at one of the games. I forget exactly which year. And then he got popped for steroids, and it was this big deal. And he talked about how, like, you know, like
he's relevant because he's almost out of his.
Yeah, I
he
know,
had a
he's
5-year ban, and I think this is his last year. Like,
has it been 5 years?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, really?
yeah. I think he's
That
in his
was
last
5
year.
years ago?
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah. So
you
that was like a big deal too, because like people were saying that he's like CrossFit isn't serious enough about steroids, and I mean, I think if it can get tighter, it should get tighter. Like, why not?
Yeah.
I agree. Well, I think part of that was, this could have just been the way that I was taking it, but I think the way I took that whole conversation too was that it seemed as though the games and or just everything in that higher up level of CrossFit was almost like they knew who they wanted to win certain things and they knew who they didn't want to win certain things,
Yeah.
essentially. And it's like, can anyone really prove or disprove that? No, but like take with that information what you will. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like he was like spilling a little bit of tea, but like not enough to be like, ooh, got him.
Yeah.
You know?
It was, I mean, just imagine being in his shoes, working your entire,
Yeah.
like, not entire life. He did like Olympic weightlifting before, but working years of your life. And then literally the person that is programming the thing that you are training for is saying, I don't want you to win. And like trying to make it so you don't win. Like, regardless of if he's doing that to push you to be stronger or whatever, like that's just not cool. Like it would be like the
Yeah.
NFL commissioner or whatever being like, we are going to make rules to make it so the LA Chargers now can't win. Because
they've already done that.
or the Patriots, right? So when the Patriots were doing really well, we are going to intentionally make rules that are going to make it so Tom Brady and the Patriots, when they were a thing, can't win anymore. Like
Yeah.
that's just not cool, man. Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't do that.
CrossFit's interesting in the,
Yeah, I agree.
in the sense that the competition changes every time, which is good. That's
Yeah.
their impetus. Like that's their point. That's unknown, unknowable. But like the difference between like winning the 2019 versus 2020 CrossFit Games is like, oh well, I don't know. Like they're different. They're different tests. They're different this. Whereas like we have these new like functional fitness companies like High Rocks or Spartan is doing the Spartan Deca comp or something like that, and it's functional fitness, but it's the same measurements and movements each year. So you really can kind of see like, oh well, this person got 5 minutes faster on their high rocks competition. Like they really are getting. So it is interesting that CrossFit doesn't have that.
Yeah.
They have one person who does have the authority to kind of be like, you know what Matt Fraser sucks at? Running. So let's put a lot of that in there. Like I think
Yeah, that is kind of crazy when you say it like that.
I think my frustration with Matt, and I am a fly to him, so it doesn't matter. But like, he did like, and he's always been upfront about he does CrossFit to make money, and I get that. But it's like a lot of the other ambassadors of the sport. You look at Noah Olsen, you look at Patrick Vellner, or you look at Golden Boy Rich Froning, like. They've all done things to better the CrossFit community, whether it's like Ultimate Hawaiian Trail Run, or it's like, you know, Rich Froning creating CrossFit Mayhem and being a big like advocate for CrossFit in the community, but also at large. And like they've taken their influence and they've turned it around to like support that as well. I think the frustrating thing that I've always seen is Matt, on the other hand, has taken everything he's gotten from CrossFit and then kind of been like, screw you guys, you know, like, and that's always been, for me, that's where I think you were saying my issues with.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just like, in the past, there's been this reputation of like, yeah, sure, Dave Castro, he hates you and he's trying to make you lose every year. But still, because of CrossFit, you have this like platform. You know, there is an element of like, I don't know. I think I've always kind of been turned off at how quickly he'll just kind of be like, no, I don't like, screw them. I don't care about it.
I mean, well, one, he has been to the Ultimate Hawaiian Trail a few times.
Yeah.
And two, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I understand where you're coming from, but I mean, he just retired. And so, like, who's to say not in like a year or two
for sure
that he's like decides like he wants to open up a gym or wants to do this thing, you know? Like, for me, watching the stuff that he's put out there, he's always been very clear of like literally his entire life from wake up to sleep has been about winning the games.
Yeah.
Period. Not about being popular on social media, not about like, and so for me, it's like, it makes sense that because of that, people have felt like he's kind of like a hermit. Like, that's why I remember when he came on the podcast, I was super nervous. I was like, I don't know. And he was super nice.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God,
nice
I was
dude,
so nervous. Like, I didn't know what he was going to be like because
Yeah.
I didn't see much of him other than in the documentaries and then barely on social media, you know? And so I think it's fair to give him a little bit of time to kind of come into no longer being the one-track mind focused on winning the games, period, right? Yeah. And so for me, like, I think going on, like, that's why I kind of said I could tell he was excited because I think, like, I don't want to say he was nervous, but it's like, dude, he's wanted to be on Joe Rogan for so long.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think he knew that people that don't like CrossFit are going to have their certain thoughts.
Yeah.
And I think like him saying that, people that don't like CrossFit are gonna be like, you know what? Like the guy that won the games 5 times seems to be pretty level headed. Maybe I've been way too like CrossFit stupid. I don't know. That was my thought when I watched it. Not just being like, no, CrossFit's the best thing ever. Like CrossFit, like I'm the fittest person and like everything else is super easy. And he wasn't like that. You know what I mean? And so I think that someone that doesn't like CrossFit could watch it and be like, oh, like he's not a huge douche like I thought he would be, you know, kind of thing. Like that was at least my when I listened to it, especially again, like I said, knowing how probably excited he was and like knowing how many people are going to watch that. I'm not saying it was the best or the worst or anything, but I can see maybe why he decided to talk about things the way that he talked about them. Yeah. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think for sure, especially with the people who are outside of CrossFit, like if he just came on as the CrossFit fanboy.
Yeah. They're just going to be like, oh, I don't want to listen to this. You know what I mean? Like if he was just like, oh, yeah, it's the best. They're just like, I don't care about CrossFit. I'm not going to watch this one. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but like that's my thought at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
Manders, when are you going to be a Peloton coach?
Dude. I'm quitting CrossFit.
When are you going to be FitX Manders?
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. I love that stupid thing. I will tell you, I talked so much crap about it before I tried it and I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, whatever. Yeah. And then I did it on vacation in Florida and I I was on it and I was like, this is so dumb. And then I started doing it and I was like, okay, wait, but it's kind of fun actually. And then like, here I am with the Peloton in my basement and it's like my favorite thing ever.
We have one. No, we don't. I bought a cheap spin bike off Amazon as a way to like.
And then did
the app as a way to like as a way to kind of kickstart because like I said, I've been a terrible quarantine workouter, and so it was like a way to kickstart. Like, okay, this is easy. I don't have to warm up for it. The warm up's built in. I'm just gonna do the bike, and now it's like I started doing the Apple Fitness has one. And then like it pairs in with your Apple Watch. You can do all that stuff. And I started with that one, but then we tried the Peloton, and the classes are just they're better. They're so much better.
They're so fun.
Yeah, and so now I'm like, and then I was like, okay, what we can do is I'll upgrade my bike, keep the iPad doing the Peloton app. But the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, let's just go bike mode. Like save a little. We got this bike now. We can ride this one until the flywheel falls off, and then when we're ready, like go upgrade to the Peloton one. But yeah, it's
so worth it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's what Sam made fun of me because I do CrossFit, I do traditional strength stuff when I just feel like getting a pump on, and then the spin bike. Like those are the 3 things I'm kind of doing right now. And
that's what I do.
Yeah. Have you heard of Soul Cycle? Is that out
Yeah.
there? Okay, I didn't know how big it is, but I call my training program Swole Cycle.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna start using that. That's good.
Yeah, it's the Swole Cycle.
Oh
but
my gosh.
anyway, when we can't wait to see you on the Peloton app, and they'll be like, "We knew her."
No, we need to.
Yeah, right.
No Peloton. We're gonna make an app called the Swole Cycle app.
Yes, it's going to include
That's it.
cycling and thrusters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. All right, 30 thrusters, go.
If you, side note, if you do any of the boot camps, like the bike boot camps, if you take any of like Jess Sims classes, she used to do CrossFit. And so like she incorporates like dumbbell thrusters, dumbbell clean and jerks, push press, all that stuff.
Oh, nice.
So like you can literally do, it's like CrossFit, but also bike at the same time. So like you do a bike portion, then you get off, you do CrossFit, bike. It's the best of both worlds. Like I highly recommend.
Yeah, I the first person I did, I'm like that person who once they find their trainer, it's hard for them to variate from them.
Is that a word?
I don't
I don't think
Deviate.
Deviate.
It's
Vary from them.
deviate.
Deviate. I said it and I was like, that's not a word. But I'm gonna try to be confident. And so the first person I did was Allie Love, and she was
cute.
She was scary, but in like a good way. I was like, man, like she'll just be like riding, and also she'll be like, keep your core tight. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And then the only other person I've done is Kendall. Those are literally the only two people.
Oh,
well, no,
love her. Okay,
and
I'm
then
gonna have to send you some recommendations.
yeah, for sure. And then I did the Hamilton ride. So whoever that person was who did Hamilton, I did her class too. But Robin, I think,
Just kidding.
or someone.
Oh,
I have
yeah,
no
what's
idea.
up?
I've never done a class. So,
Jess Sims.
Wow, we're so lame.
I know.
Jess Sims, you will like her.
I'll do it. I gotta do it. Okay, but with that, I think that's a good episode.
that's it. That's all she
That
wrote.
was a great episode.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.